Welcome back. Now, Womanomics Africa launches the Kgwebo International Trade Readiness Program, which is in collaboration with the United States Embassy in South Africa. And the program is aimed at South African women entrepreneurs who have the potential to provide goods and services to the U.S. market. To unpack this further, we're joined by Lebo Biko from Womanomics Africa. Lebo, good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for joining us. Let's start with definitions and context. What is Womanomics Africa?
Womanomics Africa is a not-for-profit organization that we started back in 2018. As you can hear, the word is woman and omics, which is the economics of women. And we started this organization as, I suppose, as a vehicle to accelerate women's economic participation in key industries across the continent at the time and across the globe. And at the time, we were inspired by the stories that were being told around the African narrative and the opportunities that are available for African businesses to grow across the continent and with the rest of the world. And being feminists and being strong supporters of women's development, we thought we wanted to create a vehicle that can support women not to be on the periphery of these opportunities, but actually drive in some instances and be part of that. And so Womanomics Africa was started to do three things. The one thing is to connect women to information and insights around opportunities, particularly around trade and international trade and doing business with other countries, because we think that can catapult their growth. So we connect them to information and insights around where those opportunities are. We do a second connect that is around connecting them to ecosystem partners, particularly with a focus on access to markets and access to funding, because we know a lot of those challenges are there for women. And then the third connect is to connect them to skills and competencies, because you can identify an opportunity, you can have somebody that's interested in supporting you, but as a business, you're actually not ready to be able to leverage on those opportunities. And so the connection is around the capability. And I suppose that's where Kgwebo also fits in, which kind of says, how do we then work with women on a journey to make them do that? So we have a BHAG. We are saying if the continent is how half of the women make up the population of the continent, then they really should also be making up half of the revenue generated on the continent. So that is us.
Yeah, and also dealing with the proverbial glass ceiling or limiting ourselves to only the parameters of South Africa. You've expanded, you've spoken about reaching out to the African continent, collaborating with the U.S. Embassy as well, to reach out into the global market while we are focused hyper-locally, so to speak.
Indeed, and I think for us that was actually that, right? That I think particularly as South African businesses, we are spoiled, and on the other side of the coin, I think it becomes a bit of an impediment itself, because we've got, in some spaces, and I don't speak just generically around, because we know that in South Africa we still have large amounts of poverty, but because we've got such mature systems and such mature industries, we think this is where it's at, and we think that we have to just operate in the local market to succeed. But actually, just by lifting your eyes, often in just looking across the border and looking at opportunities for yourself and your business across the value chain that you operate in, you can find other opportunities. And of course, inspired by the AfCFTA, which is the African Continental Free Trade, which says, can we trade more with each other and do more business and just be organized? I think as a continent, we are then saying beyond just that, you can also look at other opportunities and leverage yourself as a business and build yourself not just as a continental business, but actually as an international business. So Womanomics, actually, when we started with a lot of information sessions, a lot of workshops, just to provide the information, just to give women the aha moment that actually it is possible to think about my business beyond the South African borders and into other markets, and it can be done.
And saying women entrepreneurs need to be organized, I think for me, being organized is the operative word, because there are government levers and all sorts of other interventions to make sure that women are included in the economy, particularly even black women. I mean, if you look at the DFIs under the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition, there is a women-specific fund, Women Empowerment Fund from the NEF, the National Empowerment Fund. There are other similar projects that were done under the Solidarity Fund and other partnerships as well. Do you think that these, we miss out on these opportunities purely because you don't speak the language of the funder 2, you're not organized, your affairs are helter-skelter, your finances are also a mess, and therefore we tend to miss out.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of that, and there's a lot of bias also that happens as people do look at women, and they look at women through, I think, sometimes a biased lens. So let's talk about the information piece. Indeed, so one of our other partners as an organization, and of course on this journey, so beyond the U.S. State Department and the embassy, which has funded this particular program, but as Womanomics as an organization, since our journey, we've done a lot of work with the DTIC. So we've been fortunate that they've believed in our work, have supported our work, and we were really quite surprised, even ourselves, as we were going through the journey of what it is that they offer. I think there's a lot of unknowns around what is possible, what is there, the programs that exist. So part of the not organization is also not even knowing what is available. So even today, as part of the launch, we had the DDG of the trade of DTIC, Lerato Matabuko, talking about the different instruments that the DTIC has available to support entrepreneurs and women entrepreneurs particularly. And many of the women in the room didn't know. And as we were doing workshops, when we started our organization, we knew that connecting to information and insights was a big thing, because sometimes it's just not knowing. But having said that, it's also an appreciation that whilst we don't know some of these things, those that do know, the market is still not very
Lebo,
friendly.
I hate to interrupt you, and I hope we'll have an opportunity to do right by you, because we do have a live briefing now on the explosion that happened in Bree Street. So unfortunately, we're going to have to take that live. But really, thank you indeed. That's Lebo Biko from the Womanomics launch, which is taking place. I will give you details of that and hopefully get Lebo back on the show as well. Now,